Hidden codes in the songs of slavery. Escaping slaves had to find their way north. Northern states had societies that would help them. The final goal was Canada, north of the U.S. border. Slavery was not permitted there, and American laws that allowed people to capture runaway slaves had no effect there. People trying to escape slavery had many clues they could rely on to find out where north actually was. They knew moss usually grew on the north sides of trees. They also observed that migrating birds flew north in the summer. One of the best clues they could use to find north was to locate the North Star. Unlike other stars, it never changes position. It always points to the north. In the book Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad, I Laid the Way, we learned that one of the many things that Harriet used was hidden codes in songs to help lead her way to freedom. The average person may reflect on the cadence or melody. Only the slaves knew the hidden meaning behind them. These songs later became known as Negro spirituals. Most Negro spirituals have no known author or date of composition and were passed down orally for many years before being written down. Let's look at some of the songs from the Underground Railroad and the meaning behind them. Go Down Moses. Lyrics. When Israel was in Egypt's land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand, let my people go. Go down, Moses way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. Go Down Moses depicts the biblical story of Moses in Exodus leading his people to freedom. It is believed to be a coded reference to the conductors on the Underground Railroad, particularly Harriet Tubman, who was known as the Moses of her people. Israel represents enslaved African Americans, while Egypt and Pharaoh represent the slave master. Going down to Egypt is derived from the Bible. The Old Testament recognizes the Nile Valley as lower than Jerusalem and the Promised Land. In the context of American slavery, this ancient sense of down converged with the concept of down the Mississippi, where slaves' conditions were notoriously worse. Wade in the water. Lyrics. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Who are those children all dressed in red? God's gonna trouble the water. Must be the ones that Moses led. God's gonna trouble the water. Who are those children all dressed in white? God's gonna trouble the water. Must be the ones of the Israelites. God's gonna trouble the water. Who are those children all dressed in blue? God's gonna trouble the water. Must be the ones that made it through. God's gonna trouble the water. Meaning, Wade in the Water was a code song to tell escaping slaves to get off the trail and into the water to make sure the dogs slave catchers used couldn't sniff out their trail. People walking through water did not leave a scent that dogs could follow. Steal away. Lyrics. Steal away, steal away, steal away, steal away to Jesus. Steal away home. I ain't got long to stay here. My Lord, He calls me by the thunder. The trumpet sounds it into my soul. I ain't got long to stay here. My Lord, He calls me by the lightning. The trumpet sounds it into my soul. I ain't got long to stay here. Meaning, to steal away was a covert call that you or someone else will attempt to find a way to freedom. This song might have been a way to share information or that there would be a secret meeting perhaps that night. Follow the drinking gourd. Lyrics. When the sun comes back and the first quail calls. Meaning, the best time to run was in the spring when the days started getting longer and the angle of the sun is higher each day at noon. Quail breeding season, when the quails started calling each other, it was in mid-April in Alabama. Lyrics. Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is waiting for to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking gourd. The river bank makes a mighty good road. The dead trees show you the way. Left foot, peg foot, traveling on, follow the drinking gourd. meaning the drinking gourd was the Big Dipper constellation. The old Peg-Leg Man is said to refer to Peg-Leg Joe, who helped people across the river. It was also said that he marked the way with mud and charcoal markings to help show the way to freedom. The riverbank is supposed to be the Tom Bigby from Mobile, Alabama, but it is also known that escapees ran along and through the river so that there was no scent of them that the dogs of the slave catchers could pick up on. Lyrics: the river ends between two hills, follow the drinking gourd. There's another river on the other side, follow the drinking gourd. Meaning, the headwaters of the Tombigbee River ends near Woodall Mountain, the high point in the state of Mississippi. The river on the other side of the hills is the Tennessee River, which extends outward in an arc above Woodall Mountain. The left-hand side of the Tennessee River proceeds virtually due north to the Ohio River border with Illinois. The right-hand side meanders back into northern Alabama and then proceeds up into Tennessee. Lyrics: when the great big river meets the little river, follow the drinking gourd, for the old man is awaiting to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking gourd. Meaning, when the Tennessee River meets the Ohio River. The Tennessee and Ohio rivers come together in Paducah, Kentucky, opposite southern Illinois. Once slaves crossed the Ohio River, they were in free territory. There, people from the Underground Railroad could help them. Swing low, sweet chariot. Swing low. A call for help signaled assistance to guide escaping slaves north to freedom. Sweet chariot symbolized the means of escape, referring to the Underground Railroad. Coming forward to carry me home represented reaching freedom, escape to the north. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? The Jordan symbolized the Ohio River, or another major body of water that freedom seekers had to cross to reach free states. A band of angels coming after me referred to conductors on the Underground Railroad helping the enslaved find freedom. Walk all over God's heaven. Lyrics: I got shoes, you got shoes. All God's children got shoes. When I get to heaven, gonna put on my shoes and gonna walk all over God's heaven. Heaven, heaven. Everybody talking about heaven ain't going there, gonna walk all over God's heaven. Meaning, this song poked fun at the slave owners who claimed to be very religious, but many were very mean to their slaves. The phrase, everybody talking about heaven ain't going there, was a veiled jab that was a secret joke among the slaves. It is said that they were also looking forward to the day when they would be in heaven living freely, walking all around. Like and subscribe to Black Heritage Hub and visit us in our online store at blackheritagehub.store.